in front of him, and then he ain't going to beat Tom Brady anymore.
You come up with different stipulations to the cliff every time we speak about it.
This is now Tom Brady's age 41 season. He will not be Tom Brady. That's my claim all along.
Brady turns 41 today, Max. 41. Big birthday.
I do not think he will be a great quarterback this year. If he is, he will have proven me wrong.
Hey, Max, the GOAT is listening. Tom Brady had this Instagram post yesterday, a picture of a radar gun showing TB12 throwing balls at 61 miles per hour, and the caption, he's going to fall off a cliff. You heard that one before?
I have.
All right, here's a little bit of context. Here are some notable quarterbacks and how hard they threw at the combine before entering the NFL. Patrick Mahomes, 60 miles per hour. Baker Mayfield at 61. Carson Wentz at 57. Cam at 56. And Dak at 54.
Look at that.
So those are some pretty numbers right there. Will Kane joining us here in studio now.
I'm not a mathematician.
You're not?
No. I know you have an ingenious bar.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys solve math problems there at the ingenious bar, but
we solve whatever you need.
Is 61 higher than 60?
Depends what radar gun you're using. They vary up to 3 to 4
in other words,
miles an hour.
the strongest arm.
All right,
Well,
Max, are you going to retract your statements
no,
now?
Absolutely not. In fact, Mike Tainer had this in January of this year. If you look into the numbers, first of all, the eyeball test tells you he's not the same. Secondly, if you look into the numbers, it verifies it. Highest interception total, lowest TD rate since 2013, lowest passer rating since 2014 in a year of record passing. Dinking and dunking compared not just to, he always kind of dinking and dunking. No, compared to the last 2 seasons, he's dinking and dunking. Completion and first down rates on 3rd and 4+, down from the last 2 seasons, down from his career, below league average. This is just what it is. Now, he is playing for 2 things have conspired to make it look as though he hasn't fallen off a cliff. 1, he's playing for the greatest coach who ever lived. And 2, and they've compensated with run game, et cetera. And 2, they've changed the rules in the NFL where you can't touch the quarterback. So I'll refer you to earlier in the season, when Kansas City, who was the linebacker, who had him in his grasp, let Tom Brady walk into the end zone. That's how the Patriots won. You're not allowed to touch the quarterback anymore, favoring old quarterbacks. Tom Brady's still great under pressure. I never expected that to change. And I don't mean under pressure because those numbers are down too when he's actually facing pressure. But in big situations, he's still Tom Brady. He still has the clutch gene and all those things, for sure. But he is much more of a game manager now than he's been at any point since he was a young guy. And by the way, to get a high reading on a radar gun, you can muscle it. That's why quarterbacks at Brady's age are not as accurate down the field anymore. That's why you overthrow receivers, because you're muscling it.
What do you think about that?
Stephen A., you want me to take this, or you want to go?
I'll go first, Will, because I'm not going to be long with this. The fact of the matter is, Max Kellerman, all I have to say about is this. You did not say there would be a drop-off. You said he would fall off a cliff. That's what Tom Brady is replying to. That's what he's reacting to. Now, you did take back the word bum because you thought it was disrespectful and kids were watching. Fine. But you made the argument. You didn't sit up there and say he wouldn't be the same and leave it at that. You said he would fall off a cliff, which basically meant, you know what? He's not going to be anywhere near what he was. He's going to be a shell of himself and don't even bring Super Bowl championships into the equation. And since you've uttered those words, he's been to a Super Bowl each year. He's won 2 with 2 MVPs. Go ahead, Will.
Well, I think you stole the thunder there at the end, but it seems to be the only argument that needs to be made. Max, listen to me. I'm talking to you. I've sat across from you for going on 3 years now. We have a nice rapport. I don't know that I'd call it a friendship, but we definitely have some mutual respect. I know you place a high value on being right. You should be ashamed of yourself, Max. You should be very, very ashamed of yourself. You should go home and really give some long thought to this, because what Stephen A. said at the end is the end. You made that prediction in 2016, Max. Since that time, Tom Brady has been to 3 Super Bowls. He has won 2. And as Stephen A. points out, he's won 2 Super Bowl MVPs. There's nothing left to discuss. You are the guy. You are our buddy. We all have this buddy. You're sitting around, you're at a party, you're single at the time, so let's make that clear. And there's a beautiful, beautiful woman in the room, and everybody is astounded. And you're over there picking out the smallest of flaws on the Mona Lisa. You are over here looking through stats, doing your best to find things to explain away your take. You're talking about muscling a radar gun. I don't know what you're digging through, but I know what you're having to dig past. You're digging past 3 Super Bowls and 2 wins.
It was the lowest scoring Super Bowl in the history of Super Bowls this year.
They passed it.
They couldn't get the offense going, and the reason they won is because they have a better coach than the other team. That has protected Tom Brady's fall. Now, Stephen A., I understand what you mean about the cliff. I said it would be like this, and it's been more like that. That is true. And I'm here to tell you that has something to do with Tom Brady, of course, and also a lot to do with rules changes. I had no way of predicting at the time that they would change the roughing the passer rules to the point where you can't touch the quarterback. And so that has also preserved him.
All right. Well, what do you say we talk about the Lakers for a little bit right now? You know, it has been a great couple of weeks for the purple and gold. Anthony Davis is now a Laker, and they've opened up enough salary cap space for another max player. Will had a message for Rob Pelinka haters on his radio show yesterday.
You can line them up outside this studio, down and out the door, up the street, and around the country. You can line up the people that need to bend over and kiss Rob Pelinka's butt. Apologies are due, and you can start with where the sun doesn't shine.
All right, Will. Pelinka, you say he's owed
I
an
have to
apology.
confess. I have to confess that kissing part of that, it made me very uncomfortable. I just have to say that. It just
Why?
made me uncomfortable.
Why? Explain yourself.
I'm just saying, just the
Not meant to be
visual and
taken
the
literally,
sound
Will,
with
the
it
kissing
made
part.
me uncomfortable.
Stephen A., is
Go
that the same
ahead,
microphone
Will.
you
It
use
just
in the
made me
studio?
uncomfortable.
No, we have our own. We have our own
Yeah.
microphone each.
Yeah.
We have our own microphone each.
Yeah.
Listen, Rob Pelinka was not just maligned, he was made fun of. He was called a moron. It was said that he didn't know what he's doing. I want to be clear about something very quickly. I'm not giving him the entire credit for finding $32 million in cap space for the Lakers yesterday. Obviously, a ton goes to Clutch Sports. Obviously, a ton goes to LeBron James. But when the trade for Anthony Davis was made, there was an assumption that Rob Pelinka had put the Lakers behind the 8 ball. They wouldn't get a max free agent. And in that time, in that week and a half, we have seen several moves made now where the Lakers are in contention, that we're having a serious discussion. Stephen A. Smith is out here saying Kawhi Leonard is now seriously considering the Lakers. We need to give Pelinka the credit, and I believe with our initial reaction, some apologies.
No, you're a little bit early. If Pelinka lands a max free agent who's like an MVP type, like if you give Kemba Walker a max contract, I don't necessarily think that's a good idea for the Lakers. If they get Kawhi Leonard, or let's say Kyrie Irving, or maybe even Jimmy Butler, okay. Pelinka, you're right. In that case, he's owed an apology by people like me. But so far, what I've seen happen, the only difference is Magic's out of town. Because anyone, like the reason they couldn't get AD when they first tried is they didn't have the 4th pick in the draft. The only thing that changed is they got the 4th pick in the draft. Magic would have made the same trade. Okay, now Clutch Sports helps arrange it so they also have cap space. Here's another thing I don't like. LeBron doesn't have his coach. You have a weird coaching situation where you have a guy coming in who looks like a lame duck because Jason Kidd's underneath him. Clutch Sports, it was an inside job. All you had to do is don't botch the inside job. And so far, they've kind of botched the inside job. LeBron doesn't have his coach. There seems to be an issue there. If they get Kawhi or Kyrie, then the apologies are owed, but not before then.
Both of you are wrong. Under no circumstances is Rob Pelinka owed an apology unless one thing happens and one thing only. We find out that his supposed alleged betrayal of Magic Johnson is proven to be patently false, because that is the biggest reason Rob Pelinka took criticism. I certainly never sat up there and said he was an idiot or incompetent or anything like that. And I know you're not accusing me of that, Will, because we spoke about this yesterday. But, other people may have done that, but I didn't do that. What I'm saying to you is the biggest issue, the biggest reason why Rob Pelinka was in the midst of a public storm was because Magic Johnson abruptly resigned. We had heard reports that Rob Pelinka had something to do with it because he was stabbing Magic Johnson in the back and betraying Magic Johnson. And then when there was a question mark about that, Magic Johnson came on national television with the cameras rolling, not once, but twice, first on First Take, and then on my special during the NBA Finals, and said it in the camera that when he was talking about betrayal, he was talking about Rob Pelinka. So the fact of the matter is, All of that stuff that anybody wants to talk about. Rob Pelinka getting
Hold on.
Anthony Davis. We knew that Anthony Davis, hold on, he knew he was going to eventually come. But we didn't know anything. We didn't know when. The biggest issue with Rob Pelinka was the relationship with Magic Johnson. That is the most
For you,
he has taken.
Stephen A. And you're right. We ran into each other in the hallway yesterday, and that's the biggest issue for you. Listen, I have a very simple question for both of you, but let me say this. What I'm talking about, Stephen A., is the improvement that Pelinka made for the Lakers situation in the past 24 hours. I am not questioning the reporting of our great reporters like yourself, Adrian Wojnarowski, Ramona Shelburne, Bobby Marks, who have said that Rob Pelinka did not have this lined up. That cap space was compromised. That's what they've all told us. But he has recouped it in the past week and a half, putting them on a footing, Max, to maybe, if it's the right answer, bring in a Kawhi or a Kyrie, or perhaps break it up and bring in a Pat Beverly or another player, probably not Malcolm Brogdon because he's restricted, but two nice players. Here's my simple question to both of you. Hold on. Here's my simple question, Stephen A. If the Lakers, in a year's time, land Anthony Davis, another superstar, or two less than A-level superstars, and become the Caesars odds favorites to win it all, are we not talking about 2020 Executive of the Year?
You might.
Well, you could say that.
If he does
you could say that. You might. Hold on. You could say that. But remember, when it first went down, we were like, excuse me, I said it right here on First Take. There's no reason to overreact. You have the deal. You have until July 6th to get a deal done. There was a debate as to whether or not he should have closed the deal July 30th as opposed to July 6th.
Right. Once
But
the
that's
Lakers
all.
got the fourth